Wow. Good morning. Good morning. It is so great to see everybody. You are all very chatty this morning and full of energy. That's great. It's great to see all you here in the sanctuary, all of you out there on the pavilion. I noticed that we almost had like a pre-service coffee hour this morning out there. Something new. And the hospitality, committee doesn't want me to say anything about that. So, yeah. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples. My name is Tony Fisher. I serve this congregation with gratitude and joy. And every Sunday is a new joy. I have tremendous gratitude for everyone who is here, first of all, and everyone who is involved in the workings of this congregation. It takes a whole village to make something like this go. And if you look at our regular email blasts and our newsletter, you will realize what an incredible congregation this is, with so many things to do, so many ways to learn and grow, so many activities outside that we can participate in. It's an incredible place. I get worn out just thinking about it sometimes. So, if you are new to it, if anybody here for the first, second, or third time, welcome, 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 welcome. Please join us after the service for coffee, and for the rest of you, please welcome our guests this morning. Find out who they are and whether you can twist their arms into coming back again. That would be great. So I have a couple of announcements. First of all, please, on any given Sunday, there will be committee tables out on the pavilion so that you can learn more about all the different committees that are functioning here within our congregation. As I just said, this is a totally volunteer organization, so everything that happens here is as the result of your energies. So we're grateful for that. At 2 this afternoon, as usual, there is a bus to the vigil at the Everglades Detention Center. If you haven't signed up and would like to, go to freedomvigils.org and you can sign up for the bus. I'm not sure if we have one or two today, but I know there's one coming down from Venice today down to the detention center for our vigil. The vigils are at 4 to 5. It takes an hour and a half to get down there, which is why we leave a little early. And we get back about 6:30. They're interfaith vigils, sort of presented in a very honest and sort of calm fashion. We're not out there yelling and waving signs necessarily. We're engaged in a interfaith vigil. So if you haven't been down there, maybe today's sermon will help you get motivated. This coming Wednesday, our Progressive Voices Speak Out lecture series will feature Corey Lewis, who's the general manager of WGCU, and Mike Canary, who will be interviewing Corey about quality news in Southwest Florida. So that should be a really interesting conversation. And the week after will be our final week, and I'm announcing, I guess, that we have a change in speaker. Our speaker who was scheduled had to be called out of state, but we have somebody that I'm really excited about, Renata Bozzetto, who is the deputy director of the Florida Immigration Coalition, and who is just a spectacular person. She's been joining us our weekly calls for organizing the vigils and for all the other interfaith activities that have been going on in the state with regard to access to the detention centers and attending the legislative sessions so that we can work against some of the really bad bills that have been out there. Renata is just a fount of information, so I think a week from Wednesday you will enjoy her speaking. That, and it provides one woman amongst five that we didn't have. We didn't have any balance at all, so now we'd be grateful that we are. Steve has an invitation, and also while he's there, I would invite you to look into all our newsletter and email blasts for information about our 50th anniversary. Events are coming up. It's getting exciting.
Yes, good morning. Such a lively group today. As one of the co-chairs of our 50th anniversary planning committee, I wanted to personally invite everyone here to our big gala celebration happening on Saturday, March 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. This will be a fully catered dinner with music and dancing, and it's a chance to dress up and celebrate our 50th anniversary as our pavilion is being transformed into a very elegant, magical setting. We have some very talented people going to work on that. We've created an exciting list of celebratory dance music that everyone will enjoy. And seating is limited to 100, and reservations must be made by this coming Friday. Please don't wait until the last minute, as our gala team needs to let the caterer know how many will be attending. Please see the latest email blast, which went out last night, where you can make your reservations and choose between a vegetarian or meat entree. Or see Anna in the office after service this morning. I hope to see you all there. It's going to be a great time. Thank you.
And now let's take a deep breath and center ourselves with this morning's prelude. This is the morning that has been given us, and to all the people of the earth. The water we use to cleanse and drink is of the earth, and is needed to sustain all living things. The air we breathe is part of an ever-renewing cycle, linking our lives to those of the smallest plants. We move across lands that, until very recently, presented no obstacles to human or any other creature. This dawn, this morning, this day of our lives is for us all to share, whether we are experienced in abundance or in need, whether we live in freedom or in chains. It is for us once again to open our eyes to the richness of life in all its diversity, to celebrate as one, and to continue to work towards the liberation of all in a just and loving world. Please join me in the chalice lighting response on the screen and in your order service. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the light we now kindle be to us a symbol of the unity we seek. Thank you, Skip. And let's rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. I haven't seen Elaine Cocroft in the audience this morning, so we're going to do it as a round, okay? So I'll lead this side, Sean will lead this side, we'll sing it once together, and then we'll be off. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Did I hear that right? We won? Was that it? Wait a minute. That's not the spirit we're trying to create here. Huh. All right. This past Wednesday marked a rare occurrence on the religious calendar, the beginning of both the Islamic holy month of Ramadan and the 40-day season of Lent for Christians, which leads up to Easter. Both Ramadan and Lent emphasize the shared values of self-discipline, charity, compassion, and repentance. Ramadan is often marked by a sense of celebration for the revelation of the Quran through the Prophet Muhammad. It's a time of reflection through sacrifice, which allows people to draw closer to God, Allah, something that Muslims call taqwa, this drawing closer to God. Fasting together allows for a sense of communal sacrifice, and the evening prayers recited before the day's fast is broken reflect their gratitude for all that Allah has given. Lent is also has a reflective tone, though it tends to be more solemn and focused on repentance. Lent's 40 days remind Christians of the 40 years the Hebrews spent in the desert, and the 40 days Jesus was in the desert being tempted, changed, and prepared for the demands of his mission. Observing Lent allows Christians to move closer to God by making these stories of exploration and discovery, challenge and temptation, making them their own. One might think that the shared values that are reflected in these two important seasons and traditions would be lifted up to highlight interfaith solidarity. But the cause for celebration has been challenged by acts of intolerance both in our country and in the Middle East. In Minnesota, the Detroit area, and across the country, Muslim communities have been on edge since before Ramadan, as agents of Immigration and Custom Enforcement, ICE, have zeroed in on areas around mosques. Operation Metro Surge and Operation Parish in the Twin Cities specifically targeted Somali immigrants. And civil rights groups like the Council of American Islamic Relations have denounced these actions as discriminatory, noting that they have caused widespread fear even among U.S. citizens of Somali descent. Local imams have been preaching about safety as worshipers plan for both Ramadan and the large end-of-month celebration of Eid al-Fitr set in the middle of March. One imam has already remarked on how different this year has been, with so many people avoiding large gatherings and others who have stopped attending mosque altogether, something they once treated as routine during this holy month. While there's resistance in the courts still, attempts to cancel the temporary protective status from people from Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Myanmar, Somalia, and Yemen reflect an anti-Muslim bias within the larger scope of this most recent crackdown on an immigrant population. It would be nice if our whole nation would take some time out for a little reflection, as do Muslims and Christians during this time. To take a month to consider the values we hold as paramount and think clearly about where we have strayed from living and supporting those values. For Christians of this nation who have not totally lost themselves to the idea and ideals of Christian nationalism, it would be good. It'd be a good time to reflect on Jesus' last temptation, where Satan offered all the world's kingdoms, then and there, all the world's power, if he would just bow down and follow Satan's path. Jesus was being given an out to skip the hard path of love, sacrifice, and truth through an allegiance to falsehood and idolatry. The choice that Jesus made was reflected in the core of his teachings as in the Gospels, that though difficult, the path of love and integrity is far better than one that puts influence and power first. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we would take the time to get to know one another so that we get to see the divine spark within each person, understanding the beauty in difference and discovering the possibilities that live within the healing power of love. Let's remain seated and join in our centering hymn, How Could Anyone? It's number 1053 in the Teal hymnal. The words will be on the screen. We'll sing this through 3 times.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
3, that's all right. during our services here, we take the time for sharing joys or sorrows, and it's one way that we hold each other in love and hold together as a community. To share one another's journeys, one's triumphs and tribulations is a blessing. And it's something that is important for this congregation and has been for a long time. Those of you who saw the notice from earlier in the week, we lost another member this week, Lillian Goss, passed early on Wednesday morning. And a service of celebration will be held here this coming Saturday at 10:30. If you know Lillian, and perhaps even before that, you know Lillian and Herb Goss, they were very special people, very loving, and we hope that we can do Lillian justice in our service this coming Saturday. This past week, and at the same time, Janet Parkhurst, who was very close to Lillian, basically at the same time lost her brother-in-law. So Janet is hurting, so if you can reach out to her as friend or community member, I'm sure that would be appreciated. I have to speak of what's going on in Jerusalem right now, where extremists have been imposing themselves or have imposed themselves in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the mosque located within the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where the original Jewish temple existed. They have prevented members of the Muslim community from entering the mosque, something they've done traditionally since the 1967 war. And now extremists are moving and have moved to close down the mosque. Some of the leaders of the mosque have been arrested. It's just another sign of our intolerance to one another as we struggle as human beings to get along with one another. And so I express my sadness at the continued division in the Middle East that has resulted in so many deaths and unconscionable actions that hopefully we can't and won't ever forget. So a time to express personal joys and sorrows. If you have something that you'd like to share this morning, I hope you'll raise your hand. Tell us your name and briefly what's in your heart this morning. I'm going this way today. Stuart.
Thank you, Tony. My name is Stuart Marcus. My wife's name is Anne Marie Trotta. We've been snowbirds for just a few years, and we came down this year, January 15th. We have 5 children. On Friday night, on Saturday morning, we learned that our oldest son, Michael Trotta, 55 years old and very healthy, thin, no meds, didn't wake up Saturday morning. He died in his sleep, and his wife was at a retreat, and he was found by his 14-year-old daughter. And to add to the tragedy is that the flight we had to get back to New York was canceled because there's the blizzard of a decade coming as we speak. So I was raised Jewish, and this reminds me every so often of the old Jewish proverb, how do you make God laugh? You tell him your plans. I'm sorry, I can't stay. But I had to share, and those of you who know Anne Marie and were hoping to spend more time with her this summer, this spring, We're going back as soon as we can, and I don't know when we'll be back.
Thank you, Stuart.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Morell, and my sorrow is my neighbor died, and he's survived by his mother, who's also lost her other 2 children. Her name is Ruth, and she's lovely. I gave her some flowers, but that's a hard thing. My joy is we have birthday cake for people in the garden crew. Have birthdays, Bill McCormick, Cheryl Ingus, Michael Finkel, Patrick Peters. Okay. On the patio.
Thank you.
My name is Janet Hoffman, and I'm thankful that about 8 of us were able to attend a community meeting on Saturday to learn about ways that we can support our immigrant neighbors. And I know I'm not supposed to make an announcement, but I need worship associates to come outside right away, please, after the service for a photo.
Good morning, Tony. How you doing? My name is Vincent Keys, and Janet, I know I'm not supposed to make an announcement, but I'm just extremely happy that the Naples Depot Museum is finally reopening, and it's going to be open today. It has been 3 years since Hurricane Ian, and finally it has been restored. And so today we're going to have a celebration, and many will get a peek preview of the Black History Museum baggage car project. So please come out. You're all invited.
And you're forgiven. I forgot to put that in the announcement, so that's all right. 2:00.
You don't have any worries. Except one.
Yeah.
My name is Steve Sweats, and I was a junior high classmate of Reverend Tony. So I've watched him grow up to be one of the finer men I've ever met. The payback is that when he stood up front at the beginning and said, "Steve has a few words," the blood drained from my face because I hadn't prepared any. And then fortunately, there was another Steve who came up and talked. My wife and I have known Ann and Tony for years. Our kids are the same ages, the older ones and the younger ones. And I'm just pleased to be back here in the church.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Okay. But we're way behind on the grandchildren thing, so we're trying to catch up. Pass that to Jim.
Hi, my name is Jim Tice, and I just wanted to recognize my very long-term, 50-year friend, Trish Campbell, that's right over there. Stand up. She's from Minnesota, and she has been fighting the good fight up there, volunteering her time. She's been volunteering her own time working at a food pantry for families that are too afraid to go outside their house, that it's delivered. And they were at one location, and ICE came around, surrounded the building, and they were forced to move somewhere else. So it's not good. And what's even more amazing is her daughter, Audrey, and her boyfriend, Bill, have also been working on the weekends at restaurants, filling in for workers that are too afraid to go to work, and they're donating all of their time to pay those workers. So wow. There's a lot of great things going on up there.
Wow. Thank you.
feel like saying it's me again, Dina. I'm an immigrant also. And with the experiences I have had, coming off the right boat, with then blonde hair and blue eyes, I've had terrible experiences. And if they do that to me, what are they doing to those who look different?
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. I'm Jerry Manning. I just want to mention to all who have access to Netflix, there's an 18-minute wonderful movie called The Singer. And I suggest to anyone who has access to watch it. It is an amazing, amazing statement, and it'll move your heart.
All right.
I wanted to tell you that today I have a joy, and the joy is that I had an amazing father. He would have been 100 years old today. I wish you all knew him. But what I'm thinking about is that it really matters what seeds you leave in life. And he taught us so many things, like to do social justice. He was the mayor of our town. To love people and to tell them when you love them. And he did that all the time. He complimented everybody that he loved. To play, to be a player, to be a participant. You know, he was an athlete. He wanted to do everything. He was really involved in life. To play music, to dance. So I feel like he gave me so many gifts that can combat all the heaviness that's happening all around the world. And I guess that's an incredible joy.
Thank you so much. Grateful for all that has been expressed, such deep sorrows, such wonderful memories, friends. It's the wonder of coming together to share all of those things. Let us hold all that in our hearts and all those joys and sorrows that have remained unspoken within each and every one of us. And join me in the spirit of meditation, this by the wonderful writer Victoria Safford. Spirit of life and love, moving in the wind and over all waters, shining in sunlight and starlight, rustling in wild grasses. Spirit that murmurs over the ever-changing land, murmuring even now the lullabies of God, gentling the land. Spirit that sings in the voices of birds, the voices of children, great Spirit, moving in all things and in the breath of each of us. Gracious God of 1,000 names and beyond all naming, gather us in. Open our eyes to hold images we will not, must not forget. Images of brokenness and beauty, unspeakable cruelty, unspeakable courage. Our open ears hold stories we will not, must not, won't forget. Songs of brokenness and beauty, unspeakable sorrow, unspeakable love. Open our hearts to hold all of this. Shards of brokenness, shimmers of beauty, struggle and joy, the evidence of evil, which our own eyes have seen, and we also are capable. The testimony of compassion, which our own ears have heard, and we also are capable. We are made for this, to hold it all, to hold the unspeakable and to speak it, to find within us and among us a faith sufficient to speak truth to power. By grace and by our will, may we find the power to speak. Let's share some time in silence.
So, we're going to be singing a song called Hold On, and we're going to be asking you to join us after we sing through it a couple times. The words will be on the screen. And this particular song comes directly from the resistance movement in Minneapolis. It is something put together in a songbook by a group called Singing Resistance, which at one point had a gathering of 2,000 people who went out into the streets singing these songs. And it's really extraordinary. There are lots of other things attached to it, but we're going to sing this one song together. You'll catch on fast.
Oh
Some of our ancestors migrated to this continent over 16,000 years ago in search of more abundant food sources. These ancient peoples have been here so long that their origin stories are here, embedded in landscapes that are recognizable to us today. Following European explorers, some of our ancestors migrated to this land beginning over 400 years ago, some seeking religious freedom, some hoping to make a simple living, some to make a fortune off the land. And from those earliest days, some of our ancestors were brought here in chains, forced to work on this land for the benefit of others. As time passed, more of our ancestors migrated to this land hoping for a better life, escaping famine or war or oppression. Some migrated here believing this was a place where anyone who worked hard had an opportunity to succeed. Some came here seeking an education and stayed to enjoy a more open society. Some of our ancestors freely and regularly migrated back and forth across our borders following the growing seasons, but were forced by changing immigration policies to choose one side of the border or the other. For many, the risk of staying home became far greater than the risk of making the journey here. Some came in fear, some came in need, some came with hope. Some came for love. All sought the freedom that this land represented. All were hoping to be welcomed. Many were not. As a people, as a nation, we share all these stories. None of us can lay any greater claim on this land than anyone else. And those who have been here the longest actually never really believed the land was theirs to claim. Somehow, what should have been a rich collective story that brought us together and made us stronger, that celebrated our strength, comes from diversity, our great diversity, was instead turned into a story of us and them, a story of exploitation and oppression. Those who claim they are the sole heirs to the land not only have a jumbled view of history, but one that belies the racism and violence that has been our unfortunate truth since the very beginning.
So this song was written in 1948 by Woody Guthrie about a plane crash that happened at that point that was filled with people being deported to Mexico. Every single word of it is extremely apropos right now. The crops are all in and the peaches are rotting. The oranges piled in their creosote dumps. They're flying them back to the Mexico border to pay all their money to wade back again. My father's own father, he waded that river. They took all the money he made in his life. My brothers and sisters, some work in the fruit trees. They rode the trucks till they took down and died. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplane, and all they will call you will be deportees. Some of us are illegal and some are not wanted. our work contract's out and we have to move on. It's 600 miles to the Mexico border. They chase us like outlaws, like rustlers, like thieves. We died in your hills, we died in your deserts. We died in your valleys and died on your plains. We died neath your trees and we died in your bushes. Both sides of the river we died just the same. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplanes. All that will call you will be deportees. The sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. A fireball of lightning and shook all our hills. Who are all these friends, all scattered like dry leaves? The radio says they are just deportees. Is this the best way we can grow our big orchards? Is this the best way we can grow our good fruit? To fall like dry leaves to rot in my topsoil and be called by no name except deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplanes. And all they will call you will be deportees.
The problem lies in the tension between the desire for the kind of cheap labor that has, from the very beginning, fueled our nation's growth, and an innate discomfort with confronting the other. Immigration in the United States is a complex issue. I'm getting a lot of echo, Dan. Immigration in the United States is a complex issue that has been with us since our nation's founding. It's woven its way through our domestic and foreign policies and economic strategies. Like so many things, it's wound up in a sense of white supremacy, which has always viewed cheap labor as a commodity, a raw material, a means to an end that can be bought, used up, and thrown away. There are many different reasons for treating migrants in the United States as less than. And in the end, it comes down to three things: xenophobia, racism, a scarcity mentality, and scapegoating. Someone has to be blamed for the way things are. Politicians are quite adept at utilizing these things for their own gain, as the current administration has done and is doing. They point to concerns about crime and terrorism, a reason for stricter immigration policies. They argue that immigrants, particularly those who are undocumented or come from low-skilled backgrounds, can be a burden on the U.S. economy. They see immigration as a threat to American culture and values, leading to calls for stricter assimilation policies and preference for immigrants from countries deemed compatible with the United States culture, white culture. To a large extent, the demeaning and dehumanizing rhetoric we hear is motivated by political strategy, one that appeals to a base of supporters concerned about an impending demographic change that predicts that within 25 years, the United States population will tip to a non-white majority. The concerns about crime and the economy have no basis in truth, but are continually touted nonetheless. The concerns about our national culture and too much diversity and change are blatantly racist and don't recognize the fact that throughout our history, our ever-changing culture has been positively influenced by the influx of people from all over the world. And as we've been highlighting this month, American culture and especially American music would not be American without the Black experience. As Unitarian Universalists, we may have different views on the legal aspects of immigration. Some of us might think that people who are in this country without documentation should be deported. Some believe there should be some accommodation for those who are here and contributing to our society. Some might think there should be a pathway to citizenship. Regardless of those views, however, we should never make the mistake of confusing a legal right with a moral right. As Unitarian Universalists, we have our own values that each and every person has inherent dignity and worth and should be treated as such. When we dehumanize people for any reason, we violate the basic human values celebrated by all traditions. When we mistreat our fellow humans, we violate the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by leaders from around the world in 1948, which says that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person, that we're all equal before the law and entitled, without any discrimination, to equal protection of the law, that everyone has the right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution, and that these rights attach to all human beings irrespective of their territorial and geographic location. When we act to deprive people of their right to the legal process, we violate the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, instituted in 1868, which says that no one, no state, can deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction equal protection under the law. What we are witnessing nationally is not new. It's been going on since the beginning. The largest deportation exercise in American history happened under the Eisenhower administration, and it was a very similar military-based deportation of almost 1 million people. It is modeled for what is going on today. And as you know, locally, early last summer, our governor invoked emergency powers granted to him in 2003 for the purposes of responding to natural disasters. And despite the fact that our great state of Florida has long been home to the largest populations of migrants in the country, both documented and undocumented, the governor called the immigration issue a great emergency, and seized county-owned land in the middle of the Everglades to build a detention center. He said he was acting in response to federal requests to create more beds for an expanded roundup of immigrants who had criminal records. But there was no public hearings for the building of that detention center, no local approval, nor was there any environmental review for a camp located in the heart of an endangered land. The resulting conditions within the camp have been called out by the ACLU and Amnesty International as being cruel, inhumane, and degrading. What we've been witnessing across the country has been happening here in our own state, in our own county. As I said at the outset, the issue is complex, and there is so much to rail against. But as people of faith, we are called to respond to the human rights issues at stake, to support the humane treatment of all those seeking a better life, and to do so in whatever way we can here in our own neck of the woods. We need to be the voices of those who cannot speak out, and we need to provide presence so that for so many of our immigrant neighbors, for those who can't provide presence for themselves. Unfortunately, like all the major issues of the day, there is no quick fix This is long haul work that requires a resiliency that some find hard to maintain. While we all know that resilience can be built by taking time out, a walk in the woods, a journal, a good read, finding a moment of stillness, things that can ground you when everything else seems to be shifting all around you. Learning more about an issue, gaining a greater perspective, finding community, connecting with people who can both care and challenge, people who can sit with you in the hard moments without providing fixes, just presence. But allowing ourselves to decompress is only half of it. Resilience also comes from those times when challenging forces push us out of our normal patterns and stretch our capacities. Stretching forces us to change and develop inner strength. It's the kind of growth that often comes from facing loss, failure, or intense pressure, times when we're forced to navigate a world beyond our comfort zone, and which ultimately fosters greater capabilities, confidence, and long-term endurance. Balancing the stretch with rest and reflection is how we build resilience. So if you find yourself with too much of one or the other, finding a balance is the key. It's about staying soft enough to adapt and strong enough to withstand the harshness of this world. What's going on in our nation right now is shameful. I think we all feel that. And the only way to respond to that kind of feeling is through action. In a week and a half, we will have the opportunity to learn more about everything that's going on in this state, all the legislative actions, all the pushback, all the rhetoric. I urge you to join us for that session on Wednesday night, the 4th of March, to learn a lot more. Now's the time for us to show our gratitude for this congregation and the work that it does, for its mission and its values. If you're watching at home, you can see 3 ways to share your treasure: a check to the address, a visit to our website, or a quick snap of our QR code, which will also appear on the last slide of the day. The morning's offering will be gratefully received. Ushers can please come forward.
I just wanted to give a little bit of context for this one as well, because there's a lot of context to give. Just a quick program note. So this piece, Stardust, was written in response to the Black Lives Matter protests and some very specific things that I'm about to tell you. The composer writes, in Stardust, the singers call for, quote, a home where we can run in memory of Ahmaud Arbery, a home where we can pray in memory of the victims of Mother Emanuel shooting, a home where we can breathe in memory of George Floyd, and a home to sleep and dream without fear in memory of Breonna Taylor. And I would say again, all of these words work now for the current movement, right? Okay. And of course, anyway. When we sing, we pray twice, and it is my prayer that this piece stirs all who hear it to call for justice for the people of color taken from this world before their time and without concern for their humanity. And the poet says about the line that we're going to be singing, Kumbuba Yali Kumbuba Tambe. These are the quote-unquote magic words from Virginia Hamilton's collection of black folk tales called The People Could Fly. There's no actual translation for these words, although it has some similarities to some African languages and dialects. The lack of translation may have been Hamilton's way of showing how most of the Africans lost access to their ability to fly due to being enslaved and removed from their culture.
Awesome. Wow, thank you. We are all strangers in one way or another. Though we may offer glimpses now and again, there are parts of our inner lives that we hold close. Those pieces of ourselves that are most private and vulnerable, our deepest sorrows, our dearest hopes, things we find hard to express for fear of how others will react, or that those feelings will no longer be our own if we share. We are all strangers in one way or another, and yet when we walk through the doors of places like this refuge, this sanctuary, we arrive at a place where we can relax a little and let the words and the music, the sights and the sounds of community, the spiritual sustenance fill those hidden places, nurturing them, challenging them, and sending us back out on our journeys with courage and hope. When we stop to think about it, it's almost as if the process were a validation of self, but self as a part of something larger. Though we know in our hearts and minds that we are unique and different even from those sitting around us, we also know that their presence somehow makes us whole. This could be our story as a nation on a journey towards welcome, that all of us, with all our differences, recognize that we need one another to be fully whole. Let's rise and sing together our closing hymn. It's Break Not the Circle. It's number 323 in the gray hymnal. Words will be on the screen.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Come wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and right, but will that human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race and nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
Now begins our journey. May we carry with us as we go all that we have seen and heard, all the truth we know by heart. I believe the world is beautiful, and that my veins don't end in me, but in the unanimous blood of all those who struggle for life, love, little things, landscape and bread, the poetry of everyone. Go in peace, go in love. Have a wonderful day.